pouring in my cup. In a session real loud, good gas, yeah, you know we about to roll it up. Bring the bottles to the session, big tap, go ahead and just live it up. Get lit one night, after that, we can go ahead.
What's going on? What's going on? It's your boy Icon. And we here on 95 South Podcast once again. First and foremost, I want to thank God for this opportunity to be able to come on here and to, basically, be able to come on this platform and have great guests, great interviews, great conversation. And next I want to introduce my right-hand man, your baby mama's favorite host, the man that gets it done in all around different ways, my man Jacob, the great. What's going on, family?
What's up, fam? Just glad to be in the land of the living, man. We here, we get another day to get it right. A chance and a choice, as always.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So before we get into this interview with this young lady, I want to tell everybody to follow us on Village or shout out to our affiliates on Village Global Network, our 173 countries that provides that the Village Global Network provides us 173 countries worldwide, 8 radio stations. We also affiliated with She Real Radio, T Dub Entertainment Radio, and follow us on our uh, our YouTube page, 910 Sports and Entertainment Network. So please subscribe there. If you want to book us or interview us or come on for an interview, hit us up at 95 South Podcast at gmail.com. So, King Jacob, introduce this young lady and let's get this interview started.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So tonight we have none other than Miss Nicole Hunt, professional model, radio host, event host, men's mental health advocate, and a nonprofit owner. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me. As you said, I am Nicole Hunt, aka Nikki Small. Nikki knows, and I'm here to have a great conversation about men's mental health awareness and, look at the conversation going for mental health and suicide.
All right, all right. So when people ask who is Nikki Knows, what type of answer do you give them?
I say Nikki knows is the person who you need to connect with, who knows everybody from producers, DJs, artists, models, advocates. I've been hip to the game for 10 years, and so I know a lot of different people and a lot of ways to connect people.
Okay, okay. And so as far as you being a model, advocate in the music, in your opinion, how does all that tie in together?
I mean, we are in front of people all the time. We are in the industry. We get a lot of impressions. We get to see a lot of people, meet a lot of people, whether they're celebrities, non-celebrities, us, how we met, internet. So it all has to tie in together of how we meet and connect.
Okay, okay, okay. And so as far as you in your career, as far as you being a professional model, event host, radio personality, you know, what are the ups and downs that you face in the entertainment industry?
Well, one of the biggest things I face is that I am mostly in the urban side of the industry. So me being a white girl in the urban industry, there's a lot of different things I go through from, girls thinking I'm trying to take their man or, you're not supposed to be part of this. You ain't black. You're a culture vulture, whatever people want to say things. But I just genuinely support the movement and what I like. I love urban music. I love hip hop. I like the industry. So I've had to face that a lot. And me being an exotic dancer, a lot of people don't take women seriously if they do that profession. So I've had to overcome that a lot from just being that sexy side and people taking serious from being the sexy side.
Okay, okay, okay. So now depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, uh, bipolarism, um, suicide, just the whole aspect of men's mental health. And before we
Correct.
get into your story, why you became an advocate of mental health, I have one question for you.
Okay.
Why,
Shoot it.
why, why do you think men's mental health is thrown under the bus so many times? And it's not. People are not more vocal about it, and men are not vocal about it. And why do you feel like men think that women don't care about their mental health?
I think it's just been the way society has had men be such strong individuals. They're the caretakers. They have been the breadwinners. Like we as a world or society think that men are strong all the time. You're a man. You're strong. And us as humans, we got to realize, God created us all equal, and men deserve to fall too. You're gonna have bad times. You're not immune to having bad times, in your life. And I don't think we've taken it seriously because it's like, they people don't want to talk about it. It's such a bad thing, just as if someone was saying the N word. The suicide word is just as bad as saying the N word. They're like, oh, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to tackle it. So that's a big thing for why a lot of people don't want to talk about it.
And so, as far as doing your research, studying, and starting a nonprofit when it comes to mental health, suicide prevention, and just growing awareness. Now, the percentages of men when it comes to black male, white males, and all the other nationalities. You know, what area is it predominant in?
I haven't seen a statistic that is predominant in what a race. I have just read a statistic that at least in 2020 alone, 80% of the suicides were men in 2020 alone. They just did a big interview on the Today Show today as well about mental health, and it was showing how men just don't want to talk about it, or they don't have enough friends now to even talk to them about it.
And so, and why do you feel when your mate, your spouse, your confidant, the person that you confide in, why do you feel like men don't feel equipped enough to go talk to the person that they sleep with at night, or the person that say I love you all the time? Why you feel like men don't think they can't talk to them about mental issues that they may be having?
I mean, it depends on the person. Some women are just like, "Oh, get it together." They don't show that they care, for one, or two is how they were raised. A lot of men that I know are, African American men, and they've grown up in the hood or seen people shot, or they didn't get raised that way to say anything. They were just raised to tough enough to take it. So a lot of men don't know how to like express that. I feel I've always said if a man is coming to you and saying something, we should listen, because it takes a lot for a man to even want to say he's not okay or tell us anything about their life, because they're just always strong people. So I think it's just hard when maybe they've opened up before and people just shrugged them off like, yeah, okay, just deal with it. I think it's the tone or the way that they probably had to be presented before in the past.
So, do you think mental health classes should be presented in the education system?
I do feel like mental health classes should be presented or have more motivational speakers like Jay Barnett, who I met, Charlemagne the God, because these men have gone through these things, gone through suicide, and they're not afraid to say anything. We need to be able to make it okay that this topic is talked about more. Just as if racism is talked about or God or whatever, this topic should be talked about, because maybe if we would start mental health like in high school or these kids, we wouldn't have more adult men passing away.
And so, why do you think the education system stays away from the topic of mental health when it comes to kids in middle school and high school to really help give them a better understanding? Because once you know more about it, then you can really understand yourself and what you're going through. And so, why don't you think that the education system wants to tackle on that?
I mean, the poor education system has a lot on its plate already. I mean, we've lost cursive in school. We have to teach them about life and other things, math, writing, gym class, other things. I just don't think it's been a priority when you have other basic living skills that are being taught, in my
Uh,
opinion.
well, I mean, and I think it should be a priority because you got kids that's in school, with the bullying and that mental health aspect, and either they come to school and they kill someone or they kill themselves, and their parents really know nothing about it. And some even like kill themselves, commit suicide. So you have a
Right,
person that's 14, 15 years old committing suicide because they think the world didn't accept them. And so
right.
how do us as adults help these children get past that? What would you say we can do to try to start to fix the problem? I know it won't happen overnight, but
No, never.
just to try to change the narrative.
I mean, we got to start making it okay that it's a topic we can talk about, from the parents all the way down to the children, the teachers. It's just we got to make this topic a okay topic to talk about. And a lot of people don't want to talk about suicide. They don't want to talk about mental health. They don't want to have problems. They don't want to talk about them. And that's probably been the biggest problem I've seen, that I've talked to people, heard a lot of people. Like, I meet people and 7 out of the 10 people I meet, I've told them my story, and they've told me they've lost someone to suicide. So it's way bigger than people think. And if we try to get more people to actually talk about it and make it a bigger thing, I think a lot more people would talk about it. I just don't think people are thinking it's that big of a deal.
All right, thank you for that. Back to you, Icon.
Okay, so I was gonna ask you this: what do you feel like? I know we talked about the suicide and we talked about the mental health of the kids, but when it comes to the youth, what do we need to do as older people, especially our generation, to kind of close that gap? Because, you know, I talk to this about with a lot of youth and people, and we talk about this all the time. And the major thing is that I feel like the younger kids, between especially the ones between probably like 17 and 25, don't really feel like they have a connection with older people, and that we bash them too much. We get down on them about their music, about the way they dress, and not under trying to and not understanding that we've been there, done that with our own parents and grandparents. So what do
Right.
we need to do to kind of close that gap and kind of show these kids that we are with them?
I mean, that's just a hard thing to do. I think we've always had generational gaps from like our grandparents and us until we actually go through those experiences. But that's, you know, the way I'm trying to do my awareness is putting it into a fun form so that they don't feel intimidated. They don't feel like they're being lectured. I think we just got to change the way we try to talk to them, or the approaches we take of so that they could trust us. It's hard as a in this world, especially right now. Like, there's just a lot of social media and an image and kids, and we didn't have that when all three of us were growing up. We're all older. We had to go home to make sure we got a call on the landline. Like, and everyone has all these social media pressures. So it's just like trying to you know let them know we're here, but not, I guess, in a lecture form.
So do you talk to the kids about maybe taking a break from social media at times? Because I think that's a big thing. Because I know when you when we first started hearing about social media bullying, we kind of we first started hearing about it online. We kind of laughed about it because we like
Mhm.
social media bullying. Like, how you gonna get bullied on the internet? Like, all you have to do is press a button and go off. So do you talk to the kids about basically taking a break or getting off of social media? The ones that kind of feel like that's kind of controlling their lives a little bit too much.
I haven't had a much to be able to motivational speak to a lot of people. I just lost my brother 2 years ago, and so I've just been trying to deal with the loss and I'm lucky I've even put on 3 events in the past 3 years. I mean, Jacob's been really amazing about at least getting me to talk on any kind of platform, let alone in front of people, since losing my brother. But hopefully in the future, I will be able to talk to like college kids and youth and other people about my story, and that this is the effects of what you do when you lose somebody, or this is what happens when you lose a loved one. If you decide to take this route, this is like the bad part that happens, and it hurts other people.
Okay. So, do you your experience in the entertainment business? You know, all three of us in it, so we've all seen kind of all kind of different things in it. So, your experience in the entertainment business and being around, because you've been around from DJs to artists to
Mhm.
entertainers. So, being around that, what kind of experience and what have you learned being in that side of in that world? Because that's a whole different world as far as
Mhm.
how to deal with different scenarios and situations, especially when it comes to mental health. And because a lot of times you may meet people and then on TV they look so confident and so well together, and then you see them in person, it's like, nah, this ain't what I thought.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it just depends on the person, At the end of the day, even though they are a celebrity, at the end of the day, they're a human being. They're just like all of us. The only thing they did is that they're in the spotlight. We'll take an amazing person that we all heard of, Twitch, for instance. We thought his life was great. He had his wife, he has kids, he was on Ellen, smiling, and he took his own life this past year. So we never know what people are behind closed doors, like we gotta treat them like they're human, but we also need more celebrities who have that platform to be able to speak about topics like this, like Charlemagne the God or Dak Prescott or me or some other people who are willing to take our platforms and use it for the greater good, not just try to be this celebrity and we think we have all this money and act like we're cocky. But I've met a lot of people like that too. But I've also had a lot of others that have been very influential to me or have helped me grow as a person, and I am I know them as their personal name, not their entertainer name. You gotta take the time to get to know people sometimes.
Yeah, you know who probably impressed me the most as far as I feel like overcoming mental health was the gymnast that just won all the medals. I don't know why I can't call her name.
Simone Biles,
Yes. So to
yeah,
me, probably was the biggest inspiration I think anybody can get, because she went from physical abuse as far as like sexual abuse or whatever it was dealing with her trainer or coach, to just
right,
dealing with the mental health part of having to be on top every year and every event, and for her to
mhm,
come back and win, and probably, I'm pretty sure she went and got some help, and for her to come back and be back on top of her game says a lot about her. You know what I mean?
right.
So I definitely commend her for that or whatever. Now, I do want to ask you a question, because I thought about this when I knew you was coming on about modeling. And me and
Yes.
Jacob did a modeling event about 2 months ago in South Carolina. And the one thing I noticed was that, which is a great thing, was that it was all different colors, shapes, sizes, from young kids to older adults, big, small, tall, whatever. In the modeling business, because back in the day, that would have been taboo. Like, modeling business is one of those business where you had to be 95 pounds soaking wet or whatever, and skinny and dang near anorexic, a lot of them trying to get on that runway. Whereas now it
Right.
seems like it's an open forum and allowing more people to get into it. Is that how do you feel like the modeling game has changed over the last, probably, I would say, 5 to 6, 7 years?
I mean, a lot of social media has changed the game for a lot of the modeling world. I mean, I've been modeling for 10 years, and back then I mean, body types have changed. I mean, you used to have to be skinny, tall, a certain height. We've become more acceptable of certain sizes and weights. We had to get published to be seen. You had to be networked to be seen. And now like OnlyFans came out, and then when and TikTok, and anyone thinks they could be famous, I think it's kind of de-appreciated us as what we've had to do in the past to even get to be a model or grow, because we've been having to be judged on weight, size, height, maggot. You had to get published to be seen. You had to be with certain people on radio shows to be seen. I mean, even artists. I mean, look at how many artists have to get on. They had to be signed to a label. They had to go sell their CDs. And now someone, I was just talking to Bubba Sparks actually a couple weeks ago. He's like, man, I had to bust my butt to get signed. Now this person goes on TikTok and they're automatically famous. So it's just not as, it was a harder route for us to have to grow and get into the industry compared to now where everyone thinks it's easy peasy to get in the industry. It's a lot more work than, from the times that I started in the past 5 years. And I think a lot of music has changed the game too. Like I was talking to someone yesterday about the 90s. You might be talking about a sexual song, but they made it slick and cool and said it, not just straight out saying all these words like, oh, okay. So everything's just, I think everything's more instant gratification now. People want a lot more instant gratification right now.
Well, see, this is what I was thinking about too. I really feel like that the industry itself can change the way things are presented. And what I mean by that is that I feel like it's kind of almost too easy. Like I don't mind artists being
Hmm.
Spotify and all that, putting their music out. But what I mean by that, when you go to a certain level, when you start getting signed by a label and get millions of dollars, I feel like it should be a process. It still should be an A&R having to come in and say, you know what, let me see you perform in a club or a setting. Let me switch your interview skills a lot. But let's
Right.
go back to some of the basics of really, really seeing what you're about as a person, as an artist, and not just signing everybody and just because they have a million views on YouTube. I mean, what is your thoughts about that? Because I really feel like that's what we need to get back to get the quality music. Because even now with like all the female artists, I love female artists being able to have the opportunities, but I don't think every
Correct.
female artist need to be talking about somebody eating their butt and all.
Exactly. That's what I was trying to say. Like, I mean, Little Kim started that out, but at her time, she was the only one doing it. You have Eve, who was a good rapper, Queen Latifah, you have Foxy Brown. Like, they weren't talking that way. Like
Mhm.
they were talking about life and rapping. And I mean, I was telling, I think Jacob can say, like, we need R&B back. There's no R&B groups like there was. There's no R&B singers like there used to be. Like the game has to be changed. Like I think there's a lot of amazing talented people, and I'm glad we have the platforms to be seen where we would normally not be seen. But I think it's gotten way too overboard now. Like it's like, oh my God, seriously. Like we know when your talent is not being looked at. It's just whether you're on the internet or how many, like you said, how many followers or whatever. It's not based on your talent or your grind or your work ethic. I think like people aren't getting the recognition they deserve.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead, Jay.
Well, me and you have talked about your brother a good bit, and I just wanted to ask you, and always I'm sorry for your loss, and my prayers are always with you and your family, because I know it's a hard pill to swallow. So, with that being said, was there any type of signs that you guys seen, or or you really didn't know much about the signs to look for? Now that you are a men's mental health advocate, you know more about it. So how would you explain that to somebody, based on what you've already been through?
I mean, there were a couple of signs that I thought I saw, but I didn't think it was to the extent of him wanting to take his life. I knew he was going through some things, and I thought, he was feeling down and depressed at it, but I didn't think it was maybe to the point of him wanting to take his life. Um, Now it's like, now that I've lost him, we need to check on the strong people. He was always laughing, smiling, fun, always acting, doing things. So it's like sometimes you just got to take a step back and check on your loved ones, check on the people who are in your circle. because the one regret I have is when he did come home for Christmas, something didn't sound right, and I still have the guilt to this day that I wish I could have stopped him and said, "Don't go home, don't go back to Texas, stay home for a while." But I was also expecting my parents to kind of step in and realize something ain't right, and we just all thought he was just going through this breakup and let him go home. So sometimes it's like if we have a gut feeling that something's wrong, we need to act upon it because that it could save someone's life or that show them that we actually cared and noticed they were having a problem, you know?
Okay, okay. So that's understandable. And just to reflect back on what Icon said about the entertainment industry. So entertainment and mental health, it becomes very impactful. And a lot of people that like how Icon was talking about Simone Biles and how she overcame.
Right.
I take my hat off to Big Sean, the rapper.
Yep.
Um, he he sat down for about 6 years and didn't do any music because he was going through stuff mentally. And
Oh, we lost him.
Uh,
Let's wait for him to get back on.
hold on. I think yeah, I got him.
all right, so he always says that his girlfriend Janae Echo that she was like a voice of reason for him. She used to make him get out of the bed. He said
Right.
he didn't want to take showers. He just wanted to just wallow in his guilt. And he's like she stayed on top of him, made him go see a therapist and stuff like that. And so I say this to say that if you really have somebody that pay attention to your mood swings, your signs, your body language, I think that helps a lot. And so I feel that a lot of people that's in the music business and the entertainment business as a whole, they go through a lot of depression and mental health. And the stressful part of being an entertainer or being entertainment professional,
Right.
why do you think it's so much mental health in the entertainment business?
Because you're getting pressure from all sides, from your record executives, from the outside public, from family to friends. Like you have a lot on your plate that you're just trying to keep this image of what people think you are. And I think that's a lot of pressure on the industry. You've worked so hard to get there, but then once you get there, they don't know all this behind the scenes stuff that these artists have to do to keep up with their life. They are two different people. Like I am, like you introduced me as Nicole Hunt. Yeah, I'm Nicole Hunt. Nikki Small's my model. I got to keep up my both sides. But a lot of artists don't get to be their selves. They have to be that name that they've created, that person the alter ego they've created, so that could catch up to people. And that's the alter ego is what they got seen for and built their fame off of. But really, they want to have people see them, the real them, and they can't do that because of the image that they've created. That's my opinion.
Okay, so how hard is it to be Nikki Smalls and then go back to being Nicole Hunt? Like, what is that like? So how do you come out of that? Like, I hear actors all the time to say that it takes them a while to get out of character mode, and it can be very stressful.
Right. I mean, it's just you have to know when to turn off those switches. Whether you're Nikki, whether I'm the model Nikki or I'm Nicole. Like I've brought out a lot of my Nicole side because of my brother, and I want people to see who I really am. Nikki's the model, the twerker, the lingerie girl, the whatever. But I create that alter ego to my get my sexy side out and be able to show that world that I have that side. So now I'm just trying to combine Nicole and Nikki as the same person, and it's not easy because you want people to see that you're more humble and down to earth.
So, how much do you love Nicole Hunt, and how much do you love Nikki Smalls? Is there a big difference with the genuine love?
There's a big difference between them because people who know me as Nicole, they're really genuine here. They see Nikki, they just think it's a sex object or, something they're gonna try to get in your pants or whatever. It's just. But people also who know me as Nikki Small know that I've been the one who goes to every show. I go promote, so it's kind of the mixture of both. So it's just changing their perspective of people.
Okay, so let's talk about how the J.R. Joker Foundation was started. If you can give us a little back history on that.
So the Junior Joker Foundation was started in honor of my brother. I lost my brother to suicide 2 years ago, and I wanted to start a nonprofit to bring mental health awareness for men to the forefront and care and show other people that they could speak up. We need men to speak up. We do our annual for brain health events every July here in Denver to bring a fun way so men can come and feel comfortable to speak up and please say something to somebody. Because if we don't have men speak up, how do we know you guys need help? So I started the foundation in my brother's honor to help other men.
Tell us about the Bowling for Brains, those events, and what's those events like. And when you contact men and talk to them about what you're doing on behalf of the mental health of men, what are those conversations like, and how do you create those events, to really get it, prepped up until that particular day of the event.
I mean, I feel like most men don't want to, go hear a lecture. They're not going to go watch a community center. They don't want to talk to a therapist. I mean, men are hard headed as they are. They don't want to even say they have a problem. So I thought if we create a fun and exciting way to bring awareness, like bowling for brain health or mental Monet or karaoke athons or just other events that, men would want to even come to, then we can spread the word and bring more awareness and have people talk and communicate and us as the entertainment industry say, hey, we're not judging you. This whole room is open. You need to talk to us. We're here. And so I started Bowling for Brain Health. It's the third year. I just did one in July. The first year I just called all my friends and said, it's my celebration for my brother. Last year we sold out, and now I'm just trying to expand all over the U.S., like going to Chicago and with Dawn for Black Ink Crew, going to Dallas with Dak Prescott, trying to get Charlie Maine involved. So it's just a fun way to bring the awareness. The hard part is getting funding and grant money and trying to see if people want to help and bring these celebrities. And, it's not as easy, but I feel like in my state, I've created enough of a buzz that people actually like it. Or a lot of people have told me that, how did you get a lot of African American men in the building? We don't talk about mental health. So I take that as a thank God that I could get these men. I don't see color. I just see these are my people. I've been around these people forever. So it's not I don't see color, but I guess mental health in the black community is and men coming is a big issue. So I'm just glad it just gives me the purpose, like, okay, I got a purpose. I'm doing it. Like it gives me confidence and hope that, I'm doing what I can or bringing people together that tell me they normally would not get together. So and that's what my brother did with his friends. He brought a lot of people together. And so I feel like I've done my
Right.
mission.
Right. So speaking of black men in the black community with mental health, black men are naturally stuffers. They stuff a lot of stuff in. They hold
Exactly.
it in. They are the type of people. I just need to tough it up, just suck it up and go. And so they like what happened, and I'll get through this. But even the strongest person comes a time where they can't be strong anymore. You know,
Correct.
um, people with strength get weak as well. And so with you doing this for your brother and being able to get and you just spoke of my quarterback, because there's no bigger Cowboys fan than me. You can line 4 million up. There's no bigger fan. And so speaking of Dak, he went through a lot, man. He lost his mama to cancer in college. You know, it kind of it did affect him mentally, and his brother committed suicide while he was on the field. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And so for you to have somebody who's went through counseling sessions after counseling sessions, and the owner and the GM and the coaches was worried about him. Even I got friends in Dallas. They said when you see him, sometimes he will look spaced out because of what he went through. And so
Right.
for for you to really, be able to work with people like that, what is your mental mindset, your emotional mindset, and how does that affect you spiritually?
Um, I have emotions that go up and down. I mean, some days I feel guilty. Some days I feel like, why am I here? I wish I could switch places. I wish my brother was here and I wasn't, from a family stuff. But when I saw Zach and what he said about his brother and that we had so many similarities, and he actually reached out and actually saw my DMs and like talk to me, I felt like, damn, at least there's one other person who knows how I feel. We're both doing something in honor of our brothers. We both had so many similarities with our stories. Like, his brother passed away of suicide a year before mine. They were both the middle sibling. Dak's motto is ask for help. Mine is speak up. And his brother's name was Jace, and mine is Jason. So we both are relating to each other. Where some like people could say, "Oh, we got you, we feel you," but for him and I to be doing almost the exact same thing and feel each other, it was just a breath of fresh air. Not in a good way, but you know what I'm saying. Like we're both trying to advocate for our brothers. We're both trying to show our brothers respect and honor them and show that the suicide is really real and we need to take it seriously. So it's just I have ups and downs. Like I can't go do a 9 to 5. I get anxiety or I get discouraged, and I just try to, keep what my brother would want me to do in my heart. But it's also very hard. Like right now, with the holidays coming up, it's going to be a hard 3 months. No birthday without him, no Christmas, no his anniversary of him passing is coming up again. So it's just a lot of up and down emotions, and just having the right people in your corner to keep you going, like you, Jacob, and keep me going.
Well, my thing is, I know what I went through when my pops passed away, and I know how it was for me. But my therapy was music. Listen
Yeah.
to certain the gospel artists, listen to certain R&B criminals, hip hop artists, listen to certain Motown hits and stuff like that. So music was my therapy, and even when I talk to kids that's going through some mental health issues, I ask them how I connect with them. Is I ask them what's their favorite song and what song registers you, where you can have a conversation with me about those lyrics and how do you feel those lyrics is therapeutic for you. And so I've been able to do that with a lot of teenagers. So and with you speaking with that, because I know it's been very very hard for both of you guys. And so with the Joker Foundation, how did that Joker Foundation you have bring a better connection with you and your parents?
Um, I mean, my parents didn't really want me doing a nonprofit. My mother and I, we've been butting heads since he's passed away. My mom told me, I can't believe you're capitalizing on your brother's death. And I'm like, it is not like that whatsoever. So, in due time, they're seeing that I am helping people and they see the stories and they see how other people are getting involved. And in due time, they're getting better at accepting what I'm doing as like, this is the way I'm mourning my brother. This is the way I'm honoring him. You can honor him your way. I'm honoring him my way. So, I mean, if I would have listened to my parents, I wouldn't be talking to y'all today. I had to fight and go with my heart and go with my gut. Family is family, but sometimes you got to go against your family even to go for what you want to do to honor your loved ones. So it's been hard.
So as far as the love, respect, and the aberration that you have for men's mental health, um, and when people see what you're doing, I know the whole narrative changes, because there's not a lot of women who speak up for men's mental health, and that puts you in a whole different ballpark and category. And so, what are some of the conversations that you have with, public figures, mental health professionals, and even local politicians?
I mean, some of the conversations I do have is like, man, you're advocating for us. Nobody's advocating for us, men. We're just supposed to be strong. It's nice to have somebody who actually cares about us as men. Um, I talk to my therapist, and she helps me a lot to be like, a lot of people can't get therapy because they can't afford it, or insurances don't cover it. And with, I was hesitant to go to therapy. I've had bad experiences in my past. I was like, oh no, I don't want to do this. But you just have to find the right one. And through her, it's like, okay, we need to make therapy more accessible to people, or having conversations like us that you're having on this podcast right now. We could be doing this for everybody and just bring that conversation into everybody. We just need to have more of a platform for us to all talk about it and not get judged for talking about it. Not just talk about it for one episode or how the Today Show just did it for today. We got to have it constantly going. It's just as, just like how George Floyd happened, it was constantly every day, right? Well, this has to be a constant because we're losing too many people to suicide, and it's not being a constant talking topic.
So, do you think men that are police officers should be required to take mental health classes and should be required to see a therapist at least twice a month? Because being a
I
police officer is a very dangerous job.
right. I feel like I wouldn't say necessarily required, but I think it should be suggested. I mean, look at how many military veterans go through PTSD and they go through all of this trauma and they don't have anyone to speak out to. We got to put those options out there and let them know that these options are out there, because, like I said, men don't like to be forced to do anything. They're like, no, I'm a man. I don't got to do shit. Like, no, no, no. We got to make it to where it's available and let them know that it's available, because sometimes the people get forced to do it, they don't take it seriously, in my opinion. It's just like taking a class, like, oh, I just got to do this for my job, whatever. But if we make it to where it's important and see the effects of what people go through, maybe they'll take a different approach to it as far as like a required, class.
Back to you, Icon.
Okay, so I got a couple of questions. One, first, I'm going to ask you that because a lot of times with suicide, you hear it's two things you hear a lot, even to this day. You hear like if a person like it's different variations of suicide attempts. So when
Mhm.
a person like tries to cut their wrist, they say, "Oh, that's not really a suicide attempt. That's more of an attention getter." You know what I mean? So,
True.
or if a person talks about it out loud, that's they don't really want to do it. They just want to see what your reaction is going to be. So, what do you say to when people talk in that regard?
I mean, before my brother passed, I used to just be like, okay, if they talk about it once, okay, talk about it again, we have a problem. But now with my brother passing, I take every single conversation seriously, because they really might, because even if they are trying to get attention, they're trying to get attention because they need help, and we're just shrugging it off like, oh, well, here he goes again. Like, in the long run, it may push them to that suicide point. And I believe some people are attention getters. They'll say it. Like, I've said it myself. Like, I wish I was gone instead of my brother. I'm not meaning I want to be gone. It's just I'm so damn hurt, and my mom is hurt, and my family is hurt, that I wish I could bring him back. Like, there's just certain context of how people say it that we got to worry about it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I
In my
was
opinion.
I feel you. I feel because my approach is when it comes to like death. Because for a while it was just one of those things where I grew up. It wasn't one of those things that like if somebody when my granddad died and that was like the first person when I was a kid that died in my life that was significant. And
Right.
everybody kind of like we buried them and everybody just kind of moved on. So I was kind of raised with that kind of shell of somebody die, you mourn, whatever, and then you move on. And I had to learn like and then so what I end up learning over, when my grandmother died and my dad died years ago, and those were the most important people in my life, as far as like, being in my life, my grandmother raising me, was, well, how would she want me to be? Would she want me to sit around and mourn because that's the way
Right.
she raised me not to be, or would she want me to live my life and do what I need to do? And that's kind of way I approach it. Of how would these people want me to live my life? Because I know if she knew I was sitting around mourning her every day, she would done jumped all over me. My dad the same way. They would done cussed me out. So that's kind of the way I deal with it. But I do want to say this to you though, because I do feel like our experiences make who we are and create who we are. So you said something earlier, and I can tell there's something that you don't mind talking about because you brought it up. You said you used to be an exotic dancer. So being in
Correct.
the world, and I know it's a lot of mental thing capacity has you have to dealing with that world of being in there and feeling like a piece of meat, or and people, you seeing the other girls and what they going through or whatever. So first and foremost, what kind of got you in that world? Was it about the money? Was it like something that went on in your childhood? What the kind of the thing? Because I know eventually you're gonna have to talk to young girls about that
Hmm.
kind of thing. So what kind of brought you to that world?
I mean, I was molested when I was a kid, but I don't use that as the excuse of why I was an exotic dancer. It's just I went to the strip club. I thought I made $300 in 20 minutes, and I got addicted to the money part of it. I never drank when I danced. I never did drugs. I never smoked. I've never done anything. I was just like, let me make my money and go home. But it brought that sexual side out of me, or I learned a lot of things that from the other girls that I didn't learn from my mom. Women growing, being it turned me into a woman. So but after years of doing it, people weren't looking at you as a person. They looked at you as like, oh, she's a hoe, she's this, like all the bad names that people say just because you're a dancer. Until Cardi B came out that dancing was okay, it was like you keep it hidden. It's like a side hustle. Like you could go be a different person and go home and nobody knew that you were doing it. And now, like, ever since Cardi B came out that she was dancing, it's like everybody knows it. It's like a phenomenon. So those are the times that it's been different, like back in the day. It used to be like you go do your thing, go home, go make your money and go home. You could be a whole new person and nobody has to know that you even did the dancing. You go do your day job. I think Fat Joe says she's office type and like the strip. That's true. So but now it's like with social media and people filming and doing things, you can't go do a job like that and keep it on the low. We had a basketball player out here, and the club actually released a video or pictures of him in the club and the girl in the club. It was their actual club surveillance. I was like, really? Come on now. I was mad. Like, really? You're supposed to be here to protect us, not exploit us. So it's not the same as it, used to be back in the day. I mean,
So
we're all older. We all know how this goes. Like, we've all seen different. I don't think either of these youngins even know what a rotary phone is. They don't even know what VCR is. Like, someone said the other day, if Superman was here in this life, he would not be able to be Superman. There's no phone booth for him to go change in. There's no, dang. Really think about that?
yeah, so what was your level of detoxing or getting away from every night? Because I know you said a lot of girls. I'm pretty sure you've seen a lot of girls. They probably was drinking and smoking
Yep.
and popping pills and doing all kind of drugs to kind of get their mind off of what they was doing, or to get into the mode of even being able to do whatever y'all had to do in the club that night. So you saying you didn't do those type of things. So what was your thing that you went to kind of get away from that and turn it off when you left the club?
I mean, I have a history of epilepsy, and I was epileptic at the time. So I was like, I'm not doing nothing to jeopardize my driver's license, because if you have seizures, you lose your driver's license. I don't know. I got used to the money. I did my thing and I went home. I mean, I just kind of tunnel vision into doing that. And then when I went home, I was back to my, normal self, saying like, oh, I'm a model and Nicole. Like, I just I think that's what helped me with my career is I just knew how to turn on and off what I was doing, so just the money part helped, going on trips, going on vacations, doing my grind. I see it as a grind. I wasn't seeing it as, oh, I got to do something. I have a problem. I mean, most women in there are either single moms going to school or they have, some people have drug problems, but most of them, they're just hustlers. We just want to make our money and go home. It's not, I just want to make my money. I saw the money part of it and I got addicted to the money part. I don't, some of the behind the scenes part of what we did or getting, men being rude to us is kind of part of the job, but we get to go home and make our money. So that's how I just try to look at it. Like, this is a job, go home, make your money, and just leave it when you leave the door.
So if you was talking to a young lady about that life, what's kind of like the craziest or worst story you could tell, you know, as far as like being in that world, like that happened to you or somebody else or something you seen or went through or whatever.
um, I mean, I think the craziest thing is when girls met other people outside of the club or outside of the parties we used to do, I would say just don't. You have to leave that job at the door because a lot of women will keep on talking to these people, and there's been women that have gotten killed because of trusting or going keeping in that life. I think there was a model, her name was Tiger Booty. She went to Dubai and to go see whoever she was doing her dancing or job with, and now she's not here no more. So just, you got to be aware of your surroundings. You got to be strong. You got to, have that borderline of keeping it as work and personal because you get caught up and it could really hurt you.
Okay. So I was reading something, your bio, whatever, what Jacob has sent me about the music. You put together different events and TV shows with
Correct.
the artists and things of that nature. So were you actually like judging it, or were you just producing it? What was your role in those projects?
I mean, I've been in my bowling events are all me. I'm the one planning them, putting them on, finding celebrities, putting all these events together. I'm the promoter. I'm the owner. I have a team that helps me here in Colorado, but other than that, I've just been like the female promoter, helping other people, push other people. But me actually doing my events myself has been it's a lot of work. It's like, dang, I have a lot more respect for a lot of promoters because they got to put a lot of hustle in finding the venues, getting all this ready, doing, you know, flyers and marketing, and it's a lot. But I'm very proud of myself because there's not a lot of female promoters in the industry either. So I'm very proud of me. I know I have a talent. I've been doing it for people for a while, so I might as well use it to my advantage.
Okay. So what's the biggest celebrity that you've had on in any one event?
I wouldn't say I mean, I've met a lot of celebrities, but it hasn't been my personal event.
Okay.
So, I mean, the top three I would say would be Bobby Brown, Casey and JoJo, and Gilly the Kid are my top three.
Now you say Bobby Brown because I tell people this all the time. I have more respect for Bobby Brown than any human being probably on this earth as far as what he's been through. Because I don't know too many people that could go through what Bobby's been through and still be in
Mhm.
the right mind. Like it's incredible that he's still like I know he got God in his life because there's no way he can been through what he's been through. So when you met Bobby, how was it a quick conversation or hey whatever was it or what did you actually get to conversate with Bobby?
I mean, it was just a quick go-to conversation. It wasn't me talking to him. It was just I got to meet him. He was saying he was admiring my booty and getting to see him on a concert, and him talking about his kids and almost crying, but being that front row seat and seeing him is just a whole different light than just, oh, okay. I mean, I grew up with around him. You know what I mean? Like and I got to meet him, someone like that admiring me. So I was like, okay.
Mm.
But just seeing how his heart was on that stage when he was talking about Bobby, Christina, and Whitney and his kids, it was very touching to see that in person.
Yeah.
You know what he's gone through, but to see it in person is a whole other story.
Now, was Gilly the Kid that animated in person? Because I know on his podcast he's like super animated.
He's very animated when he's performing, but when he is behind, chilling and not in the public, he's actually a very chill person. He
Okay.
just likes to watch his games, and he's a very chill person.
Okay. Okay. So, Jacob, you got any more questions?
No, I don't have any. I don't have anything else. Just one more. If you had to say something to men, a message that they need to hear, what would that be?
I would say, men, you are human. You are amazing. You deserve your flowers. If you fall, we got you, and please speak up.
Okay. So, what's your next big event that's coming up next? Like you like the string of events you may have coming up.
Right now, at the end of the year, it's just kind of hard to put on any events. I mean, I will have my annual event in Denver every July, so hopefully we'll start doing that. Start planning it for next July of 2024 for Bowling for Brain Health. But we would really love others to try to get involved, put Bowling for Brain Health on in other cities, Chicago, Miami, Atlanta. We just, we want to continue to grow the event and grow awareness, and we need amazing people like you and Jacob to help push that along and make men, want to, come bowl for the cause. We have custom painted bowling pins as trophies. It's really actually fun to see men in this industry are like going so ham and so hyped to bowl to try to win. It's really kind of fun to see, different personalities going to try to win. So for a cause. So it's been very refreshing.
Well, I think that would be great in Atlanta. It's kind of funny because my church, they just had one. They just had an event for the church, like a couple of weeks ago, married people versus single people, whatever. I wasn't able to attend, but they had one a couple of weeks ago, and I remember like the next day in church, how competitive my pastor was about explaining how they beat the disabled people and how they was just like it was a big thing. It was like a real thing for them. You know what I mean?
Correct.
Whatever. And it's like they do this every year. They even do like I think it's kickball or dodgeball or one of them. So they talk about doing that. So I think doing those type of events. And I know years ago when I worked at Outback, we actually started a bowling league between different Outback stores. So
Right.
and our store actually we were trying at the end we were supposed to get a trip, but for some reason we never finished the season out. But I mean, me and my partner, he was real good. He was a real good bowler. I think he bowled like average like a 230 or something. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Which is crazy when you're not a professional bowler to be that good at it. And so I think yeah, I think that definitely could be something we could do, put together in Atlanta, um, or whatever. And because I like I said, stay in the area, so I think that's something we could definitely pull off and get men to be involved in. Because one thing about even when you can't bowl, you like to talk junk for some reason. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
you get one strike and you talking junk like you done threw about 10 strikes in a row. So it's just one of those things. It's just a very competitive. It's like playing spades or something for weird reason. You get that one good strike, but you think you king of the world. So but yeah, definitely. Just tell everybody where they can find you, where they can reach out to you, and all that kind of good stuff.
You can find me on Instagram at Nikki Swizzy Small on Instagram, at GAR Joker Foundation for the nonprofit, Nicole Hunt on Facebook. You can find me anywhere. Nikki Swizzy Small is here, and if you want to be a part of it, if you want to be a part of a conversation, you need to reach out. We're always here if you're having problems or just need someone to talk to. I don't know about Icon, but I know King has always told me that, if we need someone to talk to, we're here. Just reach out to us, DM us, say something. So that's where you can find us.
Hey, cool, cool. Well, I appreciate you coming on tonight and giving us your time. Because I can just tell by reading your bio and everything that you're a very, very busy woman. So I just, I'm glad to see that you're able to be able to make an impact, especially in the lives of African American men, because we definitely need an advocate. We definitely need somebody on our side, an ally on our side to basically to help us through certain things. Because I will
Correct.
say this before we go. I think sometimes the reason why I think with black men sometimes that we don't want, especially with our with like black women, we don't want to show weakness to them. And I think
Okay.
that's one of the big things that we may not talk about is that a lot of times with our black women, we don't want to show that we're weak with them or
Okay.
whatever. So when somebody like yourself comes in, it's almost like being sitting down with a therapist. It's somebody that doesn't necessarily look like you, come from your world. So sometimes it may be easier to talk to somebody like yourself because
Mhm.
we may not feel like you're gonna be as judgmental as our black women. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just putting it out. I'm not bashing our
Right.
black or nothing. I'm just saying from a mentality of a black man, that can also be the reason why it may be easier for us to go to somebody like yourself to say, this is what we're going through. You know what I mean? So that's just a little nugget, that I want to throw out there.
We got to change that narrative, whether it's a black woman, white woman.
Mm-hmm.
I mean that's why I did events like I call it versus for a cause. We had women come to our event versing each other, or we want to do more events. We do bowling for brain health. We do mental Monet, which is painting bowling pins. We started Speak Up, Scratch Up, Speak Up, which is a DJ versus showcase. We want to do a basketball game. We want to do boxing. We want to just do like a event every month, but it's really hard to plan a monthly event. We tried it here in Denver, and they like wore me out. I was like, okay, I'm tired. Let me just focus on one. But hopefully, in the long run, we can get more amazing people who want to help plan events and make sure that we can take Bowling for Brain Health nationally. Sometimes you don't need a huge celebrity. You just need your local area celebrities. All of mine were Denver artists or DJs or clothing lines. So sometimes you don't need a Gilly to come all the time. It'd be lovely, but
Yeah.
sometimes you just need that local love, and that's all you need.
So have you talked to Gilly at all since his son was a son that passed away?
Yeah, his son has passed away. R.I.P. to him. He's I've just texted him and let him know I'm here for him, and he sometimes he comes to see Coach Prime, and that's all I do. I just make sure to check on him and let him know I'm here. Because I'm probably sure he gets bombarded. So I'm
Got
just one of those. I'm here as a friend. If you need me, I'm here. So that's all I can do. Just say I'm here as a friend, because a lot of people may have reached out to him, or he's done a lot with $1 million worth of game and Wallow, and so he has a lot on his plate. But he knows if he needs someone to talk to, I'm here.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, Queen, it was nice having you on. You keep doing what you
Thank
do.
you both.
We'll be in touch, and you have a blessed night.
We definitely
All right.
appreciate you.
Thank you guys.
We got the good vibe, got the 1942 pouring in my cup. In the session real loud, good gas, yeah, you know we about to roll it up. Bring the bottles to the session, big